and welcome back to Gila's Tap House, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Average Joe Beer Connoisseur. It's been a while, as you can hear my dog coming down the stairs because he's not used to this. It's been a while since my last show. The last couple of shows have been all IPAs, probably getting all IPA'd out. Well, this will be my last all IPA show. I wanted to do one more, but this time it's a little different. Last time we talked different hops, and the time before that we talked about different styles, the New England versus the West Coast. So this time around, I brought in some different things. I brought in a session, a regular IPA, double IPA, and a triple IPA. So without further ado, let's just jump right into it. First up, I have It's a Trap. It is a 5.2% session IPA out of Trapdoor Brewing Company in Vancouver, Washington. So about the style, as you can see, this one is a little bit lighter. It's a little cloudy. That's because they actually double dry hopped this with some Galaxy, Cashmere, and Citra hops. But the thing about session IPAs is they're supposed to be very light, very easy, very appealing, very easy drinking. So when you see that session, normally you think about like anywhere in the 4% range. So this is actually on the high end at 5.2. But I've even seen session IPAs and session ales all the way down to, I don't know, probably 3.8 is probably the lowest I've ever seen. So session IPAs are meant to be very open and friendly. I think the best way to correlate it and relate it for you guys is it's the end of the night at a bar, and all the lights are on, everyone's going home, and then there's a lady there, or a man. Quick update, if you guys watched the White Claw show, my friend Tyler, he drinks White Claws, loves them, and because of that we kind of work some things out, and he's out now and he's having a good time. So when you share this video, make sure you share it with hashtag help Tyler find love, because he's finally been true to himself with the White Claws and everything else. But anyway, so at the end of the night, there's a woman there, or a man, and they've just been hitting on everybody all night. They must be recently going through a big breakup, a divorce, something tragic. They're looking to go home with somebody, and anybody there could take them home if they wanted to. That's this beer. Super easy drinking. Anyone can have it. So I'm going to go ahead and try this for you. Wow. So I normally personally stay away from sessions because they're too light, they're too thin, the alcohol doesn't really bring out, the alcohol is so low, they brew it that there's not really much hop flavor. This has a lot of flavor to it. I think the double dry hopping is doing this session a lot of wonders. I get the Cashmere, I get the Galaxy. There's a lot of Citra in there. Drinkability goes down easy because of that 5.2%, and it has a lot of taste to it and flavor that I'm not used to in a session. So drinkability, super easy. That's what it's made to do. Taste for style, it has everything it says it has in it. Double dry hopped. It is a little bit on the lighter end because of the style. My final overall rating for this would be about a 3/4 pour. It is really good. Not going quite because it lingers in your mouth just a little too long. And it's just like, it's a little lower, a little weaker than I wanted and anticipated. So 3/4 pour, and It's a Trap out of Vancouver. Really good, and I love the can art. You can see all around they have pizza attacking it. It's quite neat. So if you're not really into IPAs, if you're not really into these type of beers, look for anything that says session on it, because it's going to be lower alcohol. It's going to be a little bit lighter of a version of that beer, and you're going to have an opportunity to maybe fall in love with the style and get some backbone to it. So next up, I have a regular IPA. So continuing with our analogy of women at a bar, this one is, you're at a bar, the nightclub's still going, nightlife's still there, and there's a girl, she's completely in your league. You probably won't strike out, you kind of just go for it. That's how everybody is with an IPA. Now this Two Hearted IPA is a little bit different. This Two Hearted IPA is a 7% out of Bell's Brewing in Michigan, and everyone has probably seen or tried this because it is out there everywhere. This is a 3-time winner of America's favorite and best beer. From Homebrew Association, a couple other big magazines make this America's best beer, or a favorite beer. And so if you've tried this beer and you don't like this beer, but you say you like IPAs, you go out and you try it again, and you try it again, and you try it again, until you do like it, because you will. So this IPA is a little bit different. When you're at a bar, this IPA is the fun, loving, beautiful girl that's just dancing around, having a wonderful time, seems super nice and friendly. You think she's way out of your league, but she's so nice that you don't think she'll shut you down, so you give it a try anyway. So let's give it a try. And you hit a home run. This thing right here is excellent. This is brewed with 100% Centennial hops, and you can tell. So they put a big heaping amount in there. It's got a nice bitterness to it for West Coast style, and they use it as a bittering and a flavor hop. So we haven't gotten to this yet. But when you brew, you put in a hop for a long time to add bitterness and increase IBUs, or you add it later in a boil to add more of a flavor, or then you dry hop it, as we talked about before, to give it the most flavor. So they put this in for the whole time and they add more later. They do a fantastic job. Drinkability, easy drinking. You can easily crush this whole thing without even thinking. Taste for style, it's the best IPA out there, in my opinion. It's one of the best. And I love Bell's because they make excellent beer and they make it easily for anybody to get. Fantastic job by them. Final rating, full pour. Hands down, great beer. I'll have a full pour of this every single time. Now, the whole reason I did another IPA show is because I got my hands on a double two-hearted. Probably thinking, well, I've seen the two-hearted, but I've never seen a double two-hearted there, HABC. And you'll be right. This is the first year that they bottled this beer. I got to try it last year on draft. It was everything that I wanted it to be. And I never drink alone, but that's a whole story that I'll have to tell you right now. So let me just tell you about it. So I went to get a keg at the place I buy my kegs for Gillis Tap House. And I walked in, I was looking at all the different kegs and all the different beers, and I came across the keg that said double two-hearted ale. And I was like, there's no way in hell that this place has double two-hearted to sell a keg of. I was like, because they only have it in the tap house, they only sell it there. Like, I didn't even know it was coming into distribution out here. So I grab it. I am tickled as can be. I'm texting everybody that I know that love IPAs to come on over. I told Go Beer Cats about it. I was like, you gotta come over and try this. And I was pumped. So I take the keg, I'm walking up front to buy it, and the guy stops me and he's like, oh, hey, well, I can take that for you. And I said, oh, thank you, sir. So he goes to take it up there and he looks at it and he says, oh, he's like, I can't sell you this. And I said, what? He's like, I can't sell you this. And I said, why can't you sell me this? He's like, because we're not allowed to sell these type of kegs. I'm like, oh, because they can only sell certain sizes there, and this size they weren't allowed to distribute because of the shape or something. And I said, well, it was in the fridge. And he's like, well, let me check. So then the head of the beer department comes out and he's like, oh yeah, sorry, you're not allowed to have this beer. He's like, it's not even supposed to be in the cooler. We're using this for a special event. We're not. And I was like, okay, well, can you at least tell me when it's going to be on? Because I really want to try this beer. I have never been able to get my hands on it. I want to try it. He said, yeah, sure. We'll tell you. He lied. They never told me. I never found out. But so I was so giddy. I was so happy. I was so pumped to have this beer in my house. I told everybody not to get it. And I just left. I did not even buy a keg that day. And as you can see, it still hurts a little bit. But anyway, to make the story even worse, I had to work on the following Friday, and my wife was going with her family to a beer fest that this place was putting on. And on tap at this beer fest that they had was the double two-hearted ale. So she sends me a picture while I'm at work. She's like, have you heard this? Did you know there's a double two-hearted in Cincinnati? This is amazing. It's so good. It ruined my whole day at work. My whole evening was ruined. I was super mad. And I was very, very upset because the keg that they had did not go on tap at the place. They went to the beer fest, so I wasn't going to get to try it. Well, the following week, one other place that I knew, someone sends me a text. They're like, hey, Two Hearted's on tap right now. It was like 11 o'clock on a Wednesday. And I never drink by myself because that's like the number one rule. Because if you start drinking by yourself, you probably start developing somewhat of a drinking problem maybe, especially when you drink as much as I do. So I was like, fuck it. So I drove there. I got one of these. I got me a full pour. It was only supposed to be a sample ounce, but the guy likes me, so he gave me a full glass, and I went. And everything was just okay. Everything was perfect. Everything was right in the world. Who cares that I didn't get the cake? Because I had a full glass of this delicious juice of the gods. It's so good that you could tell me this is horse piss, and I would go out and try to get piss from a horse every day to drink it. It is fantastic. So that's my story of Double Two Hearted. There's a whole reason I did this show is because I got this and I wanted to do a review for you guys. I wanted to drink it because this is the first year they ever bottled it. It's very limited. I was actually able to get a 12-pack of them. Most people were only selling like limits of 2, so I got pretty lucky. I have a bunch of people coming in next weekend for a big event that we're going to. So I'm going to share that with them. You guys are watching, I hope you're pumped about that. So if you don't follow me on Instagram or on Tap, now's the time to do it, because next week I'm going to a massive beer fest at 450 North. I did a whole show about their beers, and they have one of the best beer fests in the fall. It's the same weekend as Great American Beer Fest, which is the #1 beer fest. But I chose to go to 450 this year. Next year, we're probably going to do Great American Beer Fest. So I'm doing 450 North. So if you haven't followed me, make sure you follow me, because I'm going to be checking a lot of stuff. Might be posting videos. Things might be getting crazy. I don't know. We're going to see what happens. So back to my analogies. Double IPAs are basically your IPA that we talked about. Very approachable, very in your league. Her way hotter friend. That's the best way to look at it. The girl that's in your league, you could hit on her, you could mac on her, you could probably succeed, maybe have a wonderful relationship, get married, and have babies. But she has a super smoking hot friend that you can't seem to get away from. Poor IPA, that's where the double comes in. It is double, it is twice as much, it is fantastic style. It's one of my favorites. Go Beer Cats was here last time. This is his favorite, is the double. And that's how these are. Now this double two-hearted is 11%. So it is very alcohol. It's very heavy. You drink it, you know it. It's brewed with 2.5 times the hops of the Centennial hops as this one. And you can taste that. It's got a kick. It's got a powerful thing in there. And it's a little boozy on it. You can taste the booze, which I kind of like, because you want to know that there's alcohol in here. You want to know it's 11%. You want to know that you're drinking something. And so this one, so the double is, out of your league, smoking hot friend. This one is a smoking hot friend that has the same personality as a regular IPA that you think you have a chance with. So you go for it and you see what happens. So 11%, fantastic. Drinkability, between the flavor, the mouthfeel, the deliciousness, you could chug this. I wouldn't recommend it at 11%, but you could chug this. I've already drank half of it. I'm probably going to finish this before I even done talking about it. That's how good this is to me. Taste for style. It tastes like 2.5 times the hops that they add to this. It tastes like 11%, not in a way where you're like, ugh, it's really strong, but it's like, oh, there's some alcohol in here, there's some booze. That adds a nice little flavor, little touch to it. Final rating, I don't even think I have to say it. It's pretty obvious. Full overall pour. Hands down, it's fantastic. If you ever get a chance to try one, I highly recommend it. If you don't like IPAs, you're not going to like that, though. It's everything that you're going to dislike about it. It's bitter. It's alcohol. It's a lot of hops to it. Probably not going to like that beer. So the real reason I did the show was for that today. So good. I have so many more. I'm looking forward to drinking them. So, all right. And my last one, and I picked this one for you guys because last time Go Beer Cats was here. And thank you everyone who watched that show. We actually had pretty good numbers that first week out, and I didn't add any keywords or anything for anyone to find it. So that was actually probably one of the best just straight views that we got without doing anything extra to it. And we were talking about West Side, because we have the West Side Common Ale here, and how we talked about how they make an excellent triple IPA. And I figured I had one in the fridge, I might as well do it for you. So this is West Side's triple IPA. It's 12.5% at 122 IBUs. IBUs are how bitter the beer is going to be. And I don't know what these ones were. That's why I didn't tell you, because they didn't list them. Not everywhere calculates them or tells you. But this is 122 IBUs. So this should make your mouth pucker a little bit. You should have that bitterness taste. But what they did, and I think the reason that me and Go Beer Cats really like it, is they double dry hopped it with a bunch of stuff. And I'm going to read it. Columbus, Galaxy, Centennial, Uconaut. I don't even know if I said that right. I don't even know what that is. And they dry hopped it and then they double dry hopped it again to create this beer. Now, triple IPA, back to our women or man analogy for you, Tyler. This person scares you a little bit. This person isn't really out of your league, but you can tell that they're going to be the dominant person in the relationship. If you do decide to go after this one, you go home, you're probably going to be whipped, beaten, sacrificed to the gods, something, and it scares you a little bit. So triple IPAs scare a lot of people because they're alcoholic, they're very heavy, and they got a lot of bitterness to them a lot of the time. So a lot of people stay away from them because they're afraid, kind of like those people at the bar. But this one This one is like that. It's a little scary, but then once you drink it, it's a lot more opening, a lot more inviting. You know, it's basically like Ronda Rousey. She scares the shit out of you because she can beat you up, but then you hear she's really a sweetheart outside of the octagon. You know, or Amanda Nunes or Holly Holm, whoever your favorite female fighter is, Misha Tate, that are all friendly outside of the ring, but fierce inside. So that's who this would correlate to. Drinkability for 12.5%, very easy to drink. But you do know there's alcohol there. This does not let you forget it's 12.5%. It does its job there. Taste for style, I get the hops. There's a lot of hop flavor. It is bitter, but the alcohol really comes out, and it kind of actually mellows the bitterness a little bit, which is actually very refreshing. For a triple IPA, this is a very refreshing triple IPA. Final overall rating, I give this a full pour 2. I was going to give it a 3/4 pour, but I think I'm going to go full because I'm really enjoying it, and it's a little bit different. I haven't had it for a while, and I actually think this one's been in the fridge a little too long. I think maybe that's why I'm liking it a little more. So normally when you age a beer, bitterness goes down, and the alcohol taste goes down, and like maltiness and sweetness and other flavors will come out. And I think that's what happened. I think I've had it so long that the IBUs are dropping, the bitterness has went down, that 12.5% alcohol has went down, and it's getting a little bit of a sweetness coming out, and I think that's why I'm really feeling it today. Because a little bit of sweetness is really affecting the style of beer, and it's actually making it taste really, really good. So those are those. I wanted to make this a little bit faster. I jumped right into things because my last one was a half hour, and I was like, oh, that's really daunting. Plus the Titans are on today. Big Titan fan. They play the Falcons. They need a win. 1-2. If they beat the Falcons, they go to 2-2, and they're going to be on a roll, I think. If they lose to the Falcons today, they go to 1-3, and they'll probably finish the year 3-13. So I really am looking forward to the game, looking for a win. So I wanted to get this in, wanted to get my pregame on, so I got a good buzz for the game, and I wanted to, just make another show because it's been about a month. Now I do have one more beer, Taylor's recommendation of the week. She went out, and I told her I was doing one more all IPA show, and I told her what beers I was doing. So she went out and found an IPA that I haven't done for a while, a milkshake IPA. And this one is called Cabana Boy. And the first time I had Cabana Boy was at a beer fest called That's My Jam, and it was at a place called Streetside. And That's My Jam was a beer fest of all fruit types of beers. So they were fruit beers, sours, lambics, milkshake IPAs. We had like fruited triples and fruited stouts and like different things. It was very neat. They did a lot of different stuff there, and it was a great beer fest. But this was my favorite beer of the beer fest because I love pineapple, and I don't really like milkshake IPAs, but this one worked. So now that was on draft, and that was the first batch they ever made. So we found this in cans. It is, we haven't had it in a can yet. So I'm gonna let you know if it's still as easy drinking and as tasty as before. It's from Grainworks out of Cincinnati. It's Westchester, Ohio. So it's like Westchester, Cincinnati area, and it's 6.8% brewed with pineapple and your milkshake hops. So yeah, so it's not as pineapple-y as it was when we were there. When we first had it there, it was heavy pineapple. It was tasting like a hoppy pineapple juice. I'm switching it around because sometimes these type of beers have a tendency to sit at the bottom. So I'm gonna try to re-pour it and see if that changes the flavor at all. And it changed the color a little bit. I don't know if you can tell, but it changed it, made it a little more hazy. So, not what I was expecting. The beer that we had at Beer Fest was fantastic, heavy on the pineapple. This is a little light on the pineapple. You still get it, still flavorful. But with this beer, I'm probably only going to give it about a half pour. So, I give Taylor props because this was an easy, extremely drinkable pineapple milkshake IPA that we had at the Beer Fest, but it's just not living up to the hype in the can. Let me pull the whole thing out and see if that changes anything, because I'm pretty disappointed because it was my favorite beer at the Beer Fest, and I bought a 4-pack of them because I was super stoked. Yep, pineapple's just not coming out like it was then. Hey, but that happens. Sometimes when you try to make a batch larger, so they made that beer just for Beer Fest, when they try to make a batch larger so they can can it and sell it because it does so well at a beer fest. Sometimes that happens. Flavors disappear. It doesn't mix well. It's okay. So the canned version of it, half pour. If you ever find it on draft, go in full pour. It's fantastic. So make sure you share the video. Make sure you share it with hashtag Help Tyler Find Love. Thank you again for watching. Follow me on Instagram and follow me on YouTube, because who knows what next weekend's going to be like. I might have a bunch of videos. I might have a bunch of posts. I'm going to be doing some great things. I might even shoot another video next week with everybody here reviewing certain beers just to see. That might be fun. So I don't know what's going to happen, but if you haven't done that, do that. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Currently at 83 subscribers. I need to get to 100 to have a custom URL. So share the video. I only need 17 more. So tell your grandmother, tell whoever might have an account, get it out there. But thanks again, guys. And remember, happiness is just a flight away. Till next time. Cheers.